Have you ever noticed a sudden shift in a woman's energy when you stopped chasing her? Maybe you pulled back, expecting her to do the same, but instead she started acting different. Maybe colder, maybe more affectionate, or maybe like you never even existed. Why does this happen? Why do some women try to win you back while others completely shut down? Here's something most men don't realize: women process rejection differently. When a woman senses that you're no longer interested, she won't just shrug it off and move on. No, her reaction will depend on how she sees you, how much she values your attention, and how she handles emotional shifts in general. Some women will double their efforts to keep you, becoming more affectionate, responsive, or even clingy. Others will go completely silent, ignoring you just as hard as you're ignoring them. And then there are those rare few who will walk away without hesitation, as if you never mattered. That's the type that confuses most men. But make no mistake, no reaction is ever random. Whether she fights for you, ignores you, or acts like she doesn't care, it's all driven by deep emotional instincts. The real question is, do you know what her reaction actually means? In this video, we're breaking down the 10 ways women react when they realize you've lost interest. Some of these will surprise you, some might confirm what you already suspected, and others might completely change the way you look at female behavior. Let's dive in. 1. She tries to make you jealous. When a woman realizes you're losing interest, one of the first things she might do is try to trigger your jealousy. Why? Because jealousy is one of the easiest ways to force an emotional reaction out of you. If she can make you feel possessive or insecure, she might be able to pull you back in. This usually happens when she's not ready to let go yet. Instead of asking why you're pulling away, she'll test if you still care by making you feel like you're about to lose her. You'll notice her suddenly becoming more active on social media, posting more selfies, going out more, and most importantly, showing off that she has options. Women understand social dynamics very well. They know that nothing gets a man's attention faster than the idea of another man stepping in. She might casually mention how some guy complimented her, or start laughing too hard at another man's jokes. If you see this shift, it's not an accident, it's a strategy. How this plays out: you used to text her every morning, but lately you've been distant. Instead of confronting you directly, she starts posting stories of herself out with friends, especially male friends. She tags another guy in a playful post, knowing you'll see it. A few days later, she randomly texts you, "Guess who I ran into today?" She doesn't even have to be interested in the guy. The goal is simple: make you react. If you question her about it, she wins. If you suddenly start paying more attention, she wins. And if you ignore it completely, that's when she realizes her tactic didn't work, and she'll either double down or switch her approach. The biggest mistake men make here is falling for the bait. If you react emotionally, acting jealous, accusing her, or chasing her again, she knows she still has you. If you stay unbothered and continue pulling away, she'll either escalate or start to accept the reality that you're done. The key here is to recognize the game without playing it. If a woman suddenly starts making moves to make you jealous, it's because she's feeling insecure about your disinterest. How you respond will determine whether she keeps trying or finally lets go. 2. She becomes extra sweet. When a woman senses that you're losing interest, she might suddenly become more affectionate, caring, and attentive. This shift isn't random. It's a response to the emotional distance she feels. Instead of confronting you or playing games, she tries to win you back by being the version of herself she thinks you want. This reaction comes from fear of losing you, fear of rejection, and sometimes fear of failure. If she was distant before, she'll start texting more. If she wasn't affectionate, she'll now go out of her way to compliment you, touch you more, or even cook for you. The goal? Make you remember why you liked her in the first place. Women don't always realize they're doing this. Sometimes it's instinct, other times it's a calculated effort to keep your attention. Either way, if you notice a sudden shift from normal to overly sweet, it's likely because she feels you slipping away. How this plays out: You've been pulling back, texting less, not making as much effort, and she notices. Instead of asking what's wrong, she flips the switch. Suddenly, she's calling you babe more often, sending good morning texts, and asking if you need anything. She might even surprise you with small gestures, like showing up with your favorite snack, or sending a thoughtful message about how much she appreciates you. At first it seems nice, but if the change is too sudden or too extreme, it can feel forced. It's not just her being sweet, it's her trying to keep you engaged. The mistake men make here is assuming she just woke up one day and decided to be more loving. No, she's reacting to your energy. If you were acting the same as always, she wouldn't suddenly feel the need to try harder. If you still like her, this is a chance to be honest about your feelings. But if you're truly losing interest, don't let the extra sweetness make you feel guilty. She's not being extra nice just because she's doing it, because she senses you slipping away. 3. She confronts you. At some point, the guessing games stop and she wants answers. If a woman is direct by nature, or if she's emotionally invested enough, she won't waste time playing mind games. Instead, she'll ask you outright, "What's wrong?" or "Are you losing interest in me?" This is the moment a lot of men dread, because now you're being put on the spot. No more avoiding her texts and hoping she gets the hint. No more pulling back and expecting her to figure it out. When she confronts you, she wants clarity, and she wants it now. You've probably been here before. One day things feel a little off between you two. Maybe you stopped texting as much. Maybe you've been acting colder, and suddenly, boom, she hits you with the question. It's that moment where you feel the weight of the conversation shift, where you know that whatever you say next will either keep things going or push her away completely. Some men get defensive when this happens. They say, "What are you talking about? Nothing's wrong." Others shut down completely because they don't want to deal with the emotional weight of the conversation. But here's the thing, women don't ask these questions for no reason. If she's confronting you, it's because she's already noticed the change. She's not imagining it, and she's not being paranoid. Now, how you handle this moment says a lot. If you still have some interest but just needed space, she'll probably be willing to work with you. But if you truly don't care anymore, dragging things out will only make it worse. Some women get emotional during these conversations, while others stay calm and collected. But one thing is certain, no woman asks a man if he's losing interest unless she already knows the answer. She just wants to hear it from you. This is why so many men feel uncomfortable when confronted. Deep down, they know she's right. The energy has shifted, and she's picking up on it. The real question is, will you give her the honesty she's looking for, or will you try to dodge it? Either way, she'll get her answer, if not from your words, then from your actions. 4. She starts ignoring you. At first she was trying to figure out what was going on. She might have tried to make you jealous, been extra sweet, or even confronted you. But when she realizes none of that is working, she flips the script. Now she's the one pulling away. Suddenly she's not texting first anymore. She stops watching your stories. Her replies are short, dry, or completely non-existent. The same woman who used to be all over you now acts like you barely exist. And here's where a lot of men mess up. They only start caring when she stops caring. The moment she begins to ignore you, something inside you wakes up. Now you're checking your phone, wondering why she hasn't replied. Now you're stalking her social media, noticing she's out having fun without you. Now you're the one feeling rejected, and that's exactly how she felt when you started pulling away. Men love to believe they're in control of the situation, until they realize she actually has the power to walk away too. A lot of guys make the mistake of thinking a woman will wait around forever, hoping he changes his mind. No, she might wait for a little while, but eventually she'll match your energy. 5. She tests your reaction. When a woman realizes you're losing interest, she might not accept it right away. Instead, she'll start testing you, subtly at first, then more obviously, to see if you actually don't care, or if you're just trying to make her chase you. This is where you'll notice small but intentional shifts in her behavior. One day she's warm and friendly, the next she's cold and distant. She'll take longer to reply, cancel plans last minute, or act like she doesn't care about your attention anymore. But here's the catch. She's watching how you respond. If you panic and start chasing her again, she knows you still care. If you act completely unbothered, she knows you're really slipping away. Either way, she gets an answer without having to ask. Women do this because they want confirmation. Did she do something wrong? Are you playing hard to get, or are you truly over it? She doesn't want to assume, so instead of confronting you outright, she plays the waiting game to see what you do. This is where a lot of men fail the test without even realizing it. Some guys get frustrated and call her out. Why are you acting weird? Others take the bait and start putting in more effort, thinking they have to fix whatever went wrong. But the ones who stay calm and unaffected, they hold all the power. 60. She gets angry. When a woman feels like you're losing interest, and especially if she's been trying other tactics to keep you, frustration can build up. If nothing else works, anger often becomes her next move. The thing is, anger is a defense mechanism. When she gets mad, it's often because she's hurt, confused, and feels powerless. Now, don't mistake her anger for indifference. Anger is just another form of caring. When she gets upset, it's because she's invested in you and the relationship. She's not mad because she wants to push you away. She's mad because she feels unseen or unwanted, and that can sting deep. You might notice her snapping at you over little things, raising her voice when she normally wouldn't, or even accusing you of not being honest. This could be her way of trying to force a reaction out of you, hoping that if she pushes you enough, you'll finally show her that you still care. In a twisted way, anger becomes a way for her to get some kind of emotional connection from you. Anything to avoid feeling like she's been abandoned. A lot of men get uncomfortable or defensive when a woman gets angry. They think, why is she overreacting? Or she's being petty. But here's the thing. Anger isn't always about the specific issue at hand. It's about the bigger picture. She's upset because you're pulling away, and her frustration isn't just about a missed text or a small argument. It's about the fear of losing you. 7. She acts unbothered, but isn't. This one's tricky. When a woman realizes you're losing interest, sometimes she'll switch tactics completely and act like she doesn't care. She'll put on a brave face, pretend she's fine, and make it seem like your lack of attention doesn't faze her at all. But let's be honest, this is often a defense mechanism. She's trying to protect herself from the emotional pain of feeling rejected. Instead of confronting you directly or showing how she feels, she'll act like everything is totally fine. Why? Because in her mind, it's better to act unbothered than to appear vulnerable. What makes this especially confusing for men is that this behavior can sometimes seem like indifference, but deep down it's the opposite. She's putting on a mask, hiding her true feelings to avoid being hurt even more. She may act cold, distant, or like she's moved on, but inside, she's still processing the change in the dynamic between you two. It's common for men to misinterpret this behavior and think, oh, she's over me, no big deal. But what's really happening is that she's shielding herself from the emotional fallout of your disinterest. If she lets on that she's hurt or upset, she risks looking desperate or weak. So instead, she bottles up her feelings and tries to move forward with a tough exterior. The problem is, this doesn't work in the long run. Eventually, the emotions she's hiding will start to surface. She may become more distant or more emotionally detached. She might start pulling away from you in other ways, as if she's trying to protect herself from being disappointed again. 8. She tries to make you feel guilty. When a woman realizes you've lost interest, one of her go-to moves might be trying to make you feel guilty. Why? Because guilt is a powerful emotion, and it can often force a reaction. She wants you to feel bad for pulling away, for not giving her the attention she used to get, or for making her feel unwanted. Now, don't get it twisted. This isn't about her being manipulative in the traditional sense. It's more about her wanting to regain control of the situation. She might not always do this consciously, but she knows that making you feel guilty could be the quickest way to get the emotional reaction she's looking for. What happens here is that guilt puts you on the defensive. When a woman pulls this move, she's pushing all the emotional buttons that will make you second-guess your decision. You might start feeling like you're the bad guy or that you owe her something, even if you've just been acting the way you feel. The problem is, if you give in to the guilt trip, it'll only keep you stuck in a cycle of emotional manipulation. You'll feel guilty for not being as responsive, for taking space, or for not giving her the same attention you once did. She'll use subtle comments like reminding you of everything she's done for you, or bringing up how much she misses the old us. These are designed to trigger that "I messed up" feeling. 9. She moves on fast. When a woman realizes you've lost interest, there's a strong chance she won't stick around waiting for you to make up your mind. Instead, she might seem to move on quickly, almost too quickly. This can feel like a slap in the face if you're still holding on to the idea that you might rekindle things. You might start thinking, wait, wasn't she just invested? How is she already over me? But here's the thing. What might look like moving on fast is really her emotional survival mode kicking in. The truth is, when someone feels rejected or unwanted, they have to protect themselves from the hurt of it all. If she feels like she's losing you, she might mentally detach and seek validation elsewhere. She's not doing it to rub it in your face, but because the emotional gap between you two has forced her to accept that it's time to move on. This can be hard for some men to accept. They might think, we had something real, how could she move on so quickly? But what you need to understand is that when someone feels emotionally neglected, they begin the process of detaching long before it's obvious. By the time she starts hanging out with new people or showing interest in someone else, she's likely already processed her emotions and let go. She might have started letting go the moment she sensed your disinterest. 10. She stops contacting you. One of the final signs that a woman realizes you've lost interest is when she completely stops contacting you. No more texts, no more calls, no more reaching out to see how you're doing. At first, it might feel like a relief. You think, finally, I don't have to deal with all this anymore. But if you dig a little deeper, you'll start to feel the weight of it. The silence is deafening, and you might start realizing just how much you took her presence for granted. Here's the thing, when a woman stops reaching out, it's not a coincidence. It's her way of accepting that the relationship or connection is over. She's done trying to fight for someone who doesn't seem to want her. Men often don't understand how deep the silence cuts. When a woman decides to stop making the effort, it means she's mentally checked out. It's not passive, it's her way of reclaiming her energy and moving on. I'll personally reach out to anyone who shares their story because it's all about learning from each other and growing. Remember, relationships don't thrive on games or assumptions. They thrive on genuine effort and communication. If you're losing interest, don't let it go unnoticed. Be honest, be real, and be the man who steps up, not the one left wondering what went wrong. Alright, we've come to the end of the video. If you gained any insight from this, do well to subscribe to ensure you don't miss out on any of our future videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remain grounded.